Welcome to CrashMagic. In this video we've got a trick that I really like. This one's great if someone asks you just to show them a quick card trick. It's a really good one to have in your library. Of course they always say don't show the same card trick twice, but I guarantee when a spectator or a group of spectators sees this one, they always ask for it to be done again. And this one you can do it a couple of times, I think, without any issue of anyone working out how it's done. So we'll start with the performance and then there'll be a tutorial. First thing I'd ask the spectator to do then is if they would like to shuffle the cards, and then once they were happy I would ask them to cut a small packet of cards off the top. Now roughly 5 or 10 or maybe 15 at most, something like that, just a small little packet. And then to cover that packet with their hand, so we'll use this card packet so that I couldn't see how many cards they'd taken. Okay, I would then do the same, cut a packet of cards for myself, and at this point I would ask the spectator to count their cards without me looking, so I would probably turn around, and while they were doing that I would also count my cards. So once we were both done counting our cards, they could cover their cards again with their hands so I couldn't see how many they'd got, and I would make a prediction, and I think in this case I think I've got as many cards as my spectator has got, plus 4 more, plus enough cards left to make their cards equal 14. So at this point I'd ask the spectator how many cards they'd got. Of course in this case we don't know, they would have counted them but we don't know, so let's count them now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So our spectator has got 12 cards. Of course my prediction was that we would have the same amount of cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and enough cards left to make their cards equal 14. They've got 12, we've got 2 cards left, so that is enough cards to make their cards equal 14. Well, I really hope you enjoyed that card trick, and if you did and want to learn how to do it, here's the tutorial, and it's really easy to do. So, no setup involved at all. This can be a borrowed deck, doesn't even matter if there's a card or 2 missing, and because of that, no setup either. You can get your spectator to shuffle the cards right from the start. So, as in the performance, you then ask them to cut a small group of cards. Like I always say from 5 or maybe 10, maybe up to 15. It's just a small packet. So in this case, they've taken that many. Now as they cut, you need to just visually see roughly how many they've got. Not in terms of how many cards, but you just need to see the thickness that they've got. And as they take them, you then ask them to cover them up with their hand so that you can't see how many cards they've got. You can't count them. But you've visually seen that they've taken about that many. Now you will then take a packet as well, and you just need to make sure that you take more than they've got, and you're looking probably to take about 10 cards more to be safe. It doesn't need to be exact, but you don't want to be taking a small little group like that when you've seen how many they've taken. You want to make sure you take a bunch more, so a thicker pile like that. We can get rid of the rest of the cards then, we don't need those. So at this point you ask your spectator to count their cards while you're not looking, and while they're doing that you count your cards. Now what you do here is you do count your cards, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We've got 17 cards, but what we actually do is we split those cards. So instead of saying 17, we say we've got 14 and 3 or 15 and 2. So let's say for example we're gonna split them. Instead of saying we've got 17 cards, we're going to say we've got 13 cards and 4 cards. So we keep that in our mind. So when our spectators finish counting their cards, we now say I'm going to make a prediction, and I think that I've got the same amount of cards as you, plus 4 cards, and obviously you don't show this, I'm just illustrating this, plus 4 cards, plus enough cards left over to make your cards equal 13. So we counted the cards and we got 17, and we just arbitrarily decided that we were going to split them 13 and 4. So again, for our prediction, we would say, I think I've got the same amount of cards as you, plus 4 more, plus enough to make your cards equal 13. So at this point we would ask the spectator to tell us how many cards they've got, and this time they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They've got 11 cards. So we said we'd have enough to have the same amount of cards as them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and enough cards left over to make their cards equal 13. They've got 11, 12, 13. So this works every time. You can do this quite a few times without a spectator ever working out how this is done, and it's such an impressive trick. I guarantee a spectator at the end of you showing them the first time will say, show me that again. So probably if you're going to do the trick again, you probably want to use a different number. So let's say they cut the cards again, they just take a small packet, they've only got a few cards this time, it doesn't make any difference. You make sure again you cut a bigger packet, roughly 10 more, something like that. They would again count their cards, and in this time they've got 4. You would count your cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So last time we just randomly chose the number 4. We'd probably choose a different number this time, so say we might choose 2. So we might say this time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 2. So this time we might say, I think I've got the same amount of cards as you, plus 2, plus enough cards to make yours equal 13. So this time they tell us they've got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus another 2. They've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have enough cards to make theirs equal 13. Well, that's the end of the video. If you liked it, please like it and subscribe. If you've got any comments, leave them down below, and see you soon.